All right, hey everybody. Let's try that again. All right, trying this again. Okay, let's see. Hello, hello, testing. All right, good enough. All right, let's try this again. Hey guys, Houdini Tai here, helping you escape your 9 to 5. And today it's snowing, or it's supposed to be snowing. I mean, it's kind of snowing, it's kind of raining, whatever. So I figured this is the perfect day to light a fire and let's teach you some real estate. All right, wow, we got a lot of people coming on this thing. All right, what's going on, everybody? Feel free to say hello, shout out where you're from, what you're interested in learning, what you're doing, all that good stuff. I can see ya. I can see ya. A lot of people going on there. So, yeah, shout out what you're up to, right? Because real estate's all about marketing. If people don't know what it is that you're interested in doing, then they don't know that they can help you. And there's a lot of people who can help you. So, say your name, say where you're from, say what you're interested in doing. Like, I'm interested in buying properties in the Northeast, single family homes that I'm going to rent out, or I'm going to do a fix and flip, or I'm interested in wholesaling and I need some buyers. You tell me. Just start shouting it out. Okay. What's up, Alex? South Jersey, Vince. We got South Philly. All right. All right. All right. Alex looking for some buy and holds in South Jersey. Mitesh asked where I stuck my finger this time. All right. So while you guys are shouting things out, and then if you're on the chat, feel free to read the chat, and so you guys can see who's who. It's all about who you know, right? They say that all the time. It's all about who you know. Okay, so I'm going to be writing down the 4 levels of real estate. And so some people know what they are, some don't, but I'm going to write it down so that we can have this conversation. I actually had this conversation yesterday at the class for the first time in a unique way that I wanted to now bring to you guys. Okay, so for those who don't know, here goes the 4 levels of real estate: wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, and be the bank. Okay, can you guys see that okay? So I guess I'm going to have to bring this a little close like this. Let me slide my chair up so that it looks even better. All right, there we go. So we got wholesale. Oh, I got to flip this. Do I have to flip this around, or is it the right way? Let's see. Oh, no, it's the right way. Cool. Cool, I don't have to flip it around. Okay, so those are the 4. There's the 4 ways, right? So we got wholesaling, buy and hold, wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, and be the bank. Okay, cool. Thanks, Rashim and Mitesh for telling me I'm good. Okay, so we got those 4 ways. Now, some of you guys want to participate in just wholesaling because wholesaling doesn't require any money, doesn't require any credit, nothing at all. It just requires you to identify a property that is has great value, meaning you can take that property, sell it to somebody else, or sell the contract, give them the opportunity to buy the house, right? Here's a house. I give this person the opportunity to buy the house, and I get paid for doing that. And what I mean by giving them the opportunity, well, I lock it up. I gain control of the property. I talk to the seller. The seller says, I want to sell it for $100,000. I say, fine, I'll buy it from you for $100,000. That means I have the rights to buy that property for $100,000, right? I have control. I'm going to take this thing off. So I have control of the property now with the agreement of sale. I then turn around and I sell the agreement of sale to the next person, right? There's a person over here. I sell them the agreement of sale. So I have control of the property, and then I just sold the control, right? That person then gives me $5,000, $10,000, whatever it is, for that little piece of paper. So wholesaling, which is that first step, as we have here, wholesaling, that first step requires no money and no credit. It just requires you to know the person who is interested in selling that property. All right, let's see if we got any questions. Everybody good so far? So far, so good. All right, cool. So, let's see. Move that out of here. All right, so that's wholesaling, right? You just get it under contract, sell it to that other person. What you just need, though, is one, you need to know who's selling the property, and then two, you need to negotiate the deal, and three, you also need to know how to analyze the property, because if they want to sell it for 100 grand and it needs 50 grand worth of work, that's 150. If properties sell on the market all fixed up for 150, the investor on this side won't want to buy it, right? There's no room for him to make any money. So why would they want to buy it, right? So I can't get it under contract for 100 and hope to sell it to this person for 110, and then they have to put 50 into it. Now it's worth 160, or I'm sorry, they're all in for 160 and the property is only worth 150. Not a good deal. So for those who are brand new to wholesaling or who want to do wholesaling, it doesn't work that way, right? People think they can wholesale anything. Don't have that mindset, and also don't just go out and get everything under contract, right? This is the ethics behind it. So with wholesaling, even if you can get anything you want under contract, it doesn't mean you should, because the person who's selling the property, they most likely don't even know you're wholesaling it. They think they're selling it to you. And when you say, yes, I'm going to buy it for $100,000, in their brain, they already have in their mind, like, what they're going to do with that money. I have these bills to pay all. I have my son and daughter's college fund that I need to pay. I have back mortgage, back credit cards. I'm trying to move. I'm trying to do all of that, right? And then if you can't sell that contract later, they're going to say, like, wait, I thought we were buying, I thought we were closing. I thought you wanted to buy, that house. What happened, right? And then what you hear on the other side of the phone is heartbreak. It's terrible. It's just a terrible thing. So you don't want to just get things under contract just because you can. That's the worst thing you can do to somebody, because they thought that you were going to buy the property. So make sure when you're putting out offers for wholesale, make sure you understand your numbers, so that when you go to market it to other people, that they are able to, that they're going to close on it, so that what you said to this person initially, you can stand by that. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, the fireplace is, it's hot. It's actually really, really hot. All right, so next, obviously we got fix and flip is next. So with fix and flip, that's what the person who's buying the wholesale from you, that's what they're going to be looking to do. They're going to look to buy the property from you wholesale. Maybe they're buying it from you for 110. You got it under contract for 100. You sell it to them for 110. And then they put 50 grand into it, but hopefully they're not trying to sell it for 150. Hopefully they're trying to sell it for 250. So they're all in for 160, right? They gave you 110, or they gave me 110, and then they put $50,000 into fixing it up. And then they go sell it for $250, and after closing costs and finance costs and all that kind of stuff, maybe they walk away themselves with $50,000 to $60,000, right? If you just did one of those a year, just one, how different would your life be? Like, a lot of you guys have a job, and you're like, man, if only I made more money at my job. You're maybe making $15, $16 an hour, right? And you're hoping that your job would pay you $20 an hour. That would be the life if your job paid you $20 an hour. Well, $20 an hour is only $40,000 a year, if you think about it. If you do the math, $20 an hour is like $40,000 a year. But I'm telling you about a fix and flip that can make you $50,000 to $60,000 per deal. So while you have your job, if you learn how to do a fix and flip and you make $50,000 or $60,000 on top, you've just cracked six figures. You make $40,000 at your job, and then you make another $60,000 from a fix and flip. Together, that's $100,000. That's what the person on this side who's looking to buy the wholesale deal from you, they're looking to profit 50, 60, 40, whatever, right? They're looking to make a decent amount of money. And you could do it. Just one deal. Just one deal will yield you that much money if you do it right, if you learn how to analyze, if you buy it right, if you have the contractors to do it. Within our group, we have contractors. Michael Parks, he's within our group, and all of our new fix and flippers and buy and hold people, whoever, right, who are doing rehabs, they use him. He does great work. He's very trustworthy. His own personal properties end up in Philly Magazine because they're done so well. So within the group, we have people you can depend on to do your projects or help you do the projects for you. Within the group, we also have people who are wholesaling. So voila, you got your deal source. I provide hard money for people. So if you need money, I will help you structure how to find the money. There's so many different ways to slice up a deal. So if money is your issue or what you think is your issue, stop thinking that way, because it doesn't necessarily have to be. We can find you the money. You just have to come learn how to analyze the deal. So we find you the property, we find you the money, and we got you the contractor. And then once you need to list it, we can help you with that too. We have real estate agents and all that kind of stuff. So really, it's awesome because you just come in and you can sit back. Fred, he's in our group. He is a newer investor. His very first deal, he kind of went like this. All right, guys, go ahead. And so Sean in the group, he found the deal. Fred came to me for the money. I found him the money. Mike Parks is doing the rehab right now. And Fred just kind of sits back and is like, okay, are we done yet? And that's really cool that he gets to do that, because behind the scenes, we got his back. We're watching out for him. We're making sure that everything's good. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I think you should come to the meetings, because it's awesome. And it's not like anything else out there, right? You can go to all these RIA meetings and whatever other I don't even want to name any names of the meetings that occur in Philadelphia or New Jersey or whatever, right? But if you've been around the industry for a while, you know what meetings I'm talking about. Typically, this is the meetings, right? This is the meetings. Let's say this was like a coffee or a beer or something like that, right? You just kind of like walk around and, hey, so what do you do? And what do you do? Okay. Here's my card. Here's your card. Okay, cool. Okay, right? And then that's it. You don't see them for another month or 2 months or whenever the next meeting is. Like, that sucks. You have no idea who these people are. No idea. So try not to do that. Let me try something real quick. Let me see if I can do this. Cool. Is this better? Let's see. Let's see if this is any better. Turn the light on. All right, maybe a little better. There's a light on the camera, right? Yeah, I guess it looks good, right? So back to what other real estate meetings are like, right? They're all like, yeah, so I'm a developer in the Brewery Town section of Philadelphia, and I do this and I do that, and then it's like, well, what do you do on the weekends? Are you a person? Like, there's just no connection. We see each other every single week. We know each other's names and phone numbers and interests and emails, and like we go to dinner together. We talk about deals all the time. We know what everybody's working with, so that we know how to help everybody get ahead. So that's the biggest difference, man. If you have no so Vince is like, wow, I've never been. Really? Yeah, really. Dude, that's exactly how it is. So I wanted to make sure that we were as far away from that as possible. I did not want us to be at all in that. So yeah, we're not. Sean calls it a showboat meeting. It is. It kind of is, right? It's like, and if you're not, let's say you're brand new. If you're brand new, this person who's there has no interest in talking to you whatsoever. If you don't seem like you can provide any value to their life, like give them money or business or deal or anything, they're not gonna really want to talk to you, and you'll feel it. You'll feel it. So again, it's not that. Like, I believe people need a chance in this industry to get started, and they're going out there looking for resources. They go to these meetings just to be like kind of brushed off by these like big wigs. That felt a very corporate America to me. right? If you weren't brown nosing with the bosses, if you weren't in the inner circle, then you weren't getting promotions, you weren't getting the best job assignments, you weren't doing any of that. I wasn't about that. So when we had the opportunity to create this real estate community that we have, we made sure that we weren't like that. And now some people on here never even been to those other ones, so they just think that they're all like this, and they're not. So just be mindful of that, right? So back to what I was talking about. Within our group, we have the people. So there's fix and flip, and then there's buy and hold, right? Let's go. Let's go back into real estate. So there's fix and flip, and then there's buy and hold. Buy and hold obviously is where you are renting out the property to tenants, and then fix and flip is where you sell it to a homeowner, right? So then they both kind of have the same kind of feel to it because you're buying them and then you're fixing them, and then you just have a different exit strategy. One, when you flip it, you never see it again. It's gone. Or you do a buy and hold, and then you have a tenant in it, and then it's either you are managing the properties and you're talking to the tenants and you're fixing the whatever, or at least you're calling the property manager or the maintenance guy or whatever and having them fix it, or you have a property manager run it for you, so that when the tenant's like, hey, my lock doesn't work, then they call the property manager and the property manager handles it. So those are the two exit strategies for those two. The fix and flip people do for cash. You do cash heavy transactions, or I'm sorry, like you do the fix and flips to build cash. But once you do it once, it's done. It's kind of like a job. You just kind of constantly do it. Whereas a buy and hold, you have the tenants that pay you every single month, but it's significantly less, right? With a buy and hold, you're probably going to get somewhere like $500 a month from the buy and hold. So if you had 10 of them, maybe you had like $5,000 in cash flow, right? But if you do a fix and flip, one shot, one pop, you get $50,000. So it's really like, which way do you want to go about it? Do you want to hold on to this long term and not have to go find another property and do a buy and hold? Or do you want to do the fix and flip, one pop, and you're gone, done? So it's, you pick and choose. People like to do buy and fix and flip because they get the cash, right? Now they have a lot of cash, and then they can do a buy and hold and not have to worry about a mortgage. And if you have all this money sunk into a buy and hold, your cash flow is higher. So instead of $500 a month, it might be $1,000 a month. It might be $1,200 a month. It depends, right, on the debt and the income. But if you don't have any debt on the property, you're realizing more income because you don't have to pay towards a mortgage. So that's so some people like to do that, fix and flip, and then go to buy and hold. And then finally, the last one that not many people know about is be the bank. Be the bank, right? So that's where you lend the money to other people to do the deal. So you're like, instead of them going to a bank, you are the bank. You give people the money, they go do the deal. You don't have, the bank never worries about the roof leaking. The bank doesn't have to worry about the maintenance calls or anything like that. They just collect the mortgage. Let me see. Oh man, this light is so bright. I can barely see now. So, all right. Let's see. Ginny, she says, I've been a guest to other meetings and seminars. I saw so many got left in the dust with no guidance from the out-of-town guys. You guys are local, and that's important to success. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah. So Michael Parks is talking about like Hobbit houses and Frodo. I don't know. Michael Parks, right? He's kind of like a caveman. He does like rehabs and he works on houses and he's a mechanic, but he's not like the smartest guy. That's the thing about Michael Parks. He's cool. He'll do a good rehab for you, but upstairs, I'm not sure, right? So yeah. So to Jenny's point, she's been to a lot of meetings. Jenny's a great realtor in Philadelphia, and she has been to a lot of meetings, and she has come to our meeting as well. And she saw both sides, and she was like, wow, this group, the one that we have going on, she's like, it's awesome because it's full of local investors, and you know, we really watch out for each other. So now, let's go into more. This is what I talked about yesterday. I went through this. This is the basics, right? This is 101, right? It's these four things. This is the 101 of it. So now, how do we take it to 201? I like to blend them. So yesterday, I blended 2 and 3. So those who weren't at the meeting yesterday, how would you blend 2 and 3? It's actually pretty simple, but this is how the big boys do it. Like, if you guys ever watch Grant Cardone on YouTube, Grant Cardone, this is how he made his millions of dollars initially. So if you ever read his millionaire booklet, he talks about how he made his first million, and when he made his very first million, he actually made 5 million. And it's a very specific way he did it. So I'm gonna actually draw it out. While I'm drawing it out, you guys chime in on the chat and tell me what you think he did, how he did it, and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm gonna break down the exact details. So chime in, or if you have questions, put them in the chat box, and then I'll try to get to those questions as soon as I see them. All right. Let's see. Okay. Cool. Oh, this is gonna be good. People are like, "Wow, I get it. It's so cool." Like, yep. All right. 5 years. All right. Cool. All right. So no new questions yet. So here we go. So this is how he does it. So he will buy a property for, let's say, $10 million. And then, so let's see. So $10 million for the property. And the reason he bought this property was because it was renting for 30% below market, right? He's looking for mom and pop people, 30% below market. And then he fixes the property for $200,000. So once he fixes the properties for $200,000, what he does is he raises the rent to where it should be, where the market. I was trying to do it without looking, right? But so $200,000, right? He then raises the rent because now he fixed it up so that it looked modern. He put stainless steel appliances in, granite countertop, all that kind of stuff, and then he's able to raise the rent to 30%. So then what he does is he collects it for 5 years and he stabilizes the property. Okay? So he stabilizes the property, meaning he got the whole building to full market rent and has a track record of a couple of years so that when he puts it on the market, he can sell it for $20 million now. He bought it for 10, he put $200,000 into it, he holds it for 5 years, and then he sells it for $20 million. And then voila, he's just made many millions of dollars just by doing this because he looks all over the place for really expensive properties, this like $10 million, $100 million deals. And then he'll do a value add, it's called, right? So what happens is when you do the value add and then you raise the rents, all of a sudden you're increasing the NOI of the property. So when you increase the NOI of the property, meaning net operating income, the value of the property is worth more. These types of properties you don't do comps for. You don't look at like, oh, this house is 400 units. Let's go look at another 400 unit and compare it. There's probably not two 400 unit properties next to each other, right? So they value it based on the income and the cap rate. So they take the NOI, the net operating income, and they divide it by the cap rate. The cap rate is kind of like, I call it the hood factor, just so that you can remember. So I call the cap rate the hood factor, meaning a high cap rate. Let's say this building says, okay, this building has a 20 cap, meaning it has a 20% ROI. The 20 cap the 20 cap means it's in a really bad neighborhood. And then if you have a 5 cap, then you're in a pretty good neighborhood. So that's my hood factor. The higher the number, the more in the hood you are. If you like that little thing, you can light it up. Little hood factor, right? Light it up with the laughing emoji. So so 20% would be in the hood, and then 5% would be in a really nice area. So then if you take the NOI, right, if we do the math, let's say $100,000, right? And then if we divided $100,000 by, let's say the hood factor, let's say the NOI was 100,000, and then you divide that by 0.05, right? 0.05. I'm going to erase this real quick. All right. So 0.05, that means it's a 5 cap, right? We have the value of $2 million. Now, check this out. If we decided to, say, divide it by a 20 cap, right, which is divided by 0.2, let's do that. 100,000 divided by 0.2 equals, we'll do here, it's only equal 500,000. So notice right there. So this is how you do the math. This is how you calculate the value of a commercial property if based on its cap rate, right? So the same building is worth or bringing in $100,000. Oops. Same building's bringing in $100,000. If I divided it by 0.05, I get $2 million. If I divide it by 0.2, which is a 20 cap, I only get $500,000. So properties in the hood that bring in $100,000 are only worth $500,000, but properties in the nicer neighborhoods that bring in $100,000, they're worth $2 million. Notice how it's the same income, but because of location, they have different values. Makes sense, right? So this is how you do the calculation right there. So if you guys never knew how to do it, voila, now you do. Now you're a commercial real estate investor. Ta-da, done. So this is where I'm going to show you how to blend 2 and 3, right? So 2 was a fix and flip, and 3 was the buy and hold. So here is where you buy the property, you then rehab it, right? You buy the property, and then you rehab it, and then you hold it as a buy and hold for 5 years, and then after that, you flip it. So then when you flip it, voila, you've just made millions of dollars. That's it. That's 2 and 3 combined, which is awesome, right? So then the other thing I talked about was 1 wholesale, 1 wholesale, 4 be the bank, right? I'm going to just write B bank, and then I'm going to put WS for wholesale. So strategy 1 plus strategy 4. How do you wholesale being the bank, right? How do you do that? Well, how about this? So there's a house, and this person owns the house, and they want $100,000 for it. So then here comes a person who wants to buy the house, right? I'm gonna draw a hat, right? So that person wants to buy the house for $100,000. Instead of going to the bank, right? Let's say this is the bank. Instead of going to the bank, we're not gonna go to the bank. They're gonna say to the seller, instead of me going to the bank, borrowing the $100,000 and then paying them, let's say $500 a month, how about I just give you $500 a month, right? So he gives that person $500 a month instead of giving him the full $100,000. So essentially, the homeowner has done what's called a seller financed note. So now there's a seller financed note, which is the same as being the bank, right? They didn't provide the $100,000 directly. They had the $100,000 locked up in the equity. So now they get $500 a month from the buyer. So now this person's the bank. Well, what if I came in, here's me on this side, and I say to them, like, hey, I see that you have a note for $100,000 and you're getting $500 a month. Well, it's been about maybe 2 years now, right? It's been about 2 years. You've collected $500 a month. So you've already collected $12,000, right? So you're in good shape. How about I just give you, how about I give you the money up front and you stop collecting $500,000, right? So then I'm essentially asking for this person to sell me his note. So this seller finance note, I want to buy that seller finance note, but I'm not going to give him $100,000 for it. Number one, the principal has been paid down a little bit because every time $500 was paid, a little bit of the $100,000 principal was chopped down. So this note is probably not worth $100,000 right now because $12,000 was paid, but not all of it went towards principal. So maybe in terms of principal, there's probably still $98,000 left in principal, right? $98,000 left in principal, but they've already collected $12,000 in their pocket. So I come and I say, hey, how about I just give you $80,000 up front? I give you $80,000 up front, and you get to keep the $12,000 you've already collected. So you're at $92,000. Now it's not necessarily the $100,000 that you wanted, but you know what? Take your money and run and forget about it and go live your life. Now you have $80,000 to go do whatever you want with. So I just bought a note that's worth $98,000 for $80,000. And then what I can do is I can turn around and I can sell that note to somebody else for $90,000, right? So I sell it to them for $90,000. I bought it for $80,000. It's worth $98,000. So that's why the person is willing to spend $90,000, right? I'm gonna clean this up. This is getting messy. So I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, get rid of all my circles. Okay, so this person, right? They have the note. It was worth $100,000. Now it's worth $98,000. I offer $80,000, and then they agree because they want the money now. I go out and I sell it for $90,000, right? I sell it for $90,000 because I want the 10 grand right now, and then this person, he's interested in buying the $98,000 note, and let's say it's a 15-year note. Over the course of 15 years, he might actually collect $150,000. So he pays $90,000 for something that will pay him $150,000 over the next 15 years. And then I made $10,000 because I wholesaled bank money, essentially. So that's wholesaling being the bank right there. So that's 1 plus 4. And then this one was 2 plus 3, right? All back to this. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are all the different strategies that you can do in real estate. Well, not all, but you know, there's variations, and then you can start blending all of them together, right? So some people never knew that those 4 existed because some people only thought that fix and flip exists because of TV. But there you go. There's so many different strategies. Now it's just a matter of you learning the intricacies, the little details on how to make all of that work. Just because I showed you that and what I showed you here, just because I showed you all those, it doesn't mean you know enough yet to do these strategies. But if you come to the meetings every single week, you will be in the conversation. You will learn terminology that you've never learned before, and then that will allow your imagination to run wild so that when you see properties, you can see all different ways of doing these deals. So again, let's go back. So we got wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, and being the bank. Now, when I said being the bank the first time, you guys thought that you have to lend money. Most people never considered that the seller of the house might end up being the bank and do a seller finance note. And then when the seller does a seller finance note, and then then I buy the note from them, and then I wholesale that note to another buyer. I mean, you never saw that one coming, right? So eventually you start to learn different details of things, and then it's kind of like the Matrix. You get to see money in ways that you've never seen it before. Because all we're doing here, when we're doing these transactions, all we're doing is we're looking for equity. We're just a bunch of equity hunters here, right? As a wholesaler, I got to get a property under contract for less than it's worth so that I can sell it to somebody else who's willing to pay me for what it's worth, right? If I get a property for $90,000 that's worth $100 and then I go sell it to the next person because it's worth $100 and they give me that money, I found $10,000 in equity. My job is to find that. Now, the person who bought it for $100 plans to fix it up, right? They plan to put $50,000 into it, but then maybe because they put the $50,000, they get an additional $30,000 in equity because the property value went up $80,000, not just $50. They bought it for $100, they put $50 into it, but now it's not worth $150, it's worth $180. So they made $30,000 in equity appear, right? So they forced equity. I found equity, and then we forced the equity, and then with the buy and hold, you're creating equity over time because every time you pay the mortgage, from the rent money, you collect rent, you pay the mortgage, you're building equity there, and then you're also collecting an income. And then finally, being the bank, right, you're gaining interest on a property that had equity that you were able to lend on, right? You wanted to lend on a property that had excess equity, and then you're going to collect income. And then I come in and I say, look, I want to buy that note from you, but I wanted to buy it at a reduced price. So now I'm finding that equity there, and then I can take that and I can sell that note to somebody else. So you see, it's like a crazy game of where's the equity? Where is the equity? So that's a lot of different ways of looking at it. Did you guys ever look at it that way? Feel free to chime in. I want to have a conversation. So if you guys are on this call, if you're watching, feel free to chat. So let's see. Calvin asked, was the cap rate using the NOI divided by the original purchase price or the property value once it's fixed? So you would divide by the cap rate to figure out what the value is. It has, with the original purchase price, I determined if the $10 million was a good purchase price by dividing the current NOI, which was 30% undervalued, right? Remember I said it was 30% undervalued? So in this case, the property was 30% undervalued. So what I did was I took the NOI and I divided it by the cap rate to see if $10 million, that's how I came up with $10 million. And that's how I could justify it. I would say, like, look guys, your values are this and your cap rate is this. Sell me the property for this. So then I bought it. And then I calculated the repairs, and then I got the new income amount, right? So then I got the new income amount divided by the same cap rate, which will tell me what I can actually sell it for. So that's why I was able to come up with 20 million. Now, there was no numbers here. It was all hypothetical, right? But here I said the NOI, which was 30% lower than the market divided by the cap. That told me that I could buy the building for $10 million. And then when I increased the NOI, right, I increased the NOI by 30%, and then I divided it by the same cap, it happened to turn out to be $20 million. So that's how you use the cap rate. All right, Carla, she said equity hunters, love it. Excellent summary on the basics of real estate investing. Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because it is basic, but so is real estate investing. It really boils down to pretty simple things. It's not rocket science by any means. That's why people have been making millions of dollars in real estate. That's why immigrants, other countries can come here, not speak any English, and become millionaires through real estate. Because it's pretty simple once you break down what you're doing. All you're doing is you're finding equity, and you're turning that equity into cash in your pocket, in the bank, whatever. So yeah, that's what's going on. So for brand new people who are interested in learning more about how to find equity, what equity really looks like, how to transform equity into cash and all that kind of stuff, come to our class. We have a class tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday at 7 p.m. You can come to the class and you can come learn, right? Everybody has a different reason for coming. Some people, they're like, oh, I'm going to do it for my kids. And some people are like, I want to do it for my future kids. And some people are like, I hate my job. And like the reasons vary so much, but the end result is the same. You do a deal and you change your life. You make a lot of money in real estate and you get to do what you want, right? It's just the same equation. It doesn't matter why. Your why doesn't matter. And so I often tell people that I don't like real estate. And I really don't, right? I don't care for the bricks. I don't care for the roof. I just look at it all like as problems. But what I do like is that I can have real estate deals being done for me. Like I have my contractor working on things and other people doing things for me. I just structure the deal and I get to do these live videos for you guys, right? Sitting by the fire, whatever. And then I get to show you guys how to do the real estate deals too, right? Because I get to make the money and then I get to do what I love. Some people, there's that quote that says like, do what you love and you never work a day in your life again. For some people, that's really difficult because I love eating pizza and ice cream bars, and I'm not sure that people will pay to see me do that. Or I'm not sure how I can figure out how to get paid to do that. So instead of trying to figure out how to get paid to eat ice cream bars and pizza, how about I just figure out how to do real estate, make money through real estate, and then I can go eat all the pizza and ice cream bars that I want without having to worry about getting paid for it. Because sometimes getting paid for what, here we go. Hey-yo! So, talking about doing what you love and never having to work a day in your life again. Here we go. It's a Wednesday afternoon. And I'm eating my ice cream bar next to the beautiful fireplace, right? This is one of those postcard scenes. Here you go. Little screenshot right here. Don't be surprised if you see that later. Let me get a better post or a better picture. I'm gonna take this off. No. And then I'm gonna do like poses like this. I'm gonna screenshot all these later. Alright, cool. So, you don't have to do what you love for work because that will taint the thing that you love a lot of times. Maybe I like riding bicycles, and there are ways to make money by riding bicycles, right? But if I have to do it and train and then it becomes work. Right? Because some days I just don't like, oh, thanks for lighting it up, everybody. thanks for lighting it up. So, and big shout out to my wife for bringing me the ice cream. It's awesome. But if say I really love riding a bicycle and I could do it for work, like if you do races or Red Bull Rampage or anything like that, if you know anything about that, right? It's fun. It's fun. Right? But if you have to train every single day and then train when you don't want to and train when the weather's bad and train, right? Now it's like, God, the last thing I want to do is ride my bike. And it's because I have to look at it like I need to ride my bike and train so that I can make money. And all of a sudden, because I put money into it, it makes it not fun anymore. Right? Or I could just do a real estate deal and then go ride bikes. Do a real estate deal and go ride bikes. Then I can train if I want or not train if I want. I think that's the better way to do it. So there are people who have become passionate about what they do. Like maybe Steve Jobs was passionate about technology and all that kind of stuff, and he's living the life now. But maybe that's not you. So don't compare yourself that way. Everybody has a different way of doing things. So this is not a Dove bar. This is a Häagen-Dazs. Häagen-Dazs. It's not yet Häagen-Dazs. Funny enough, it's not really not a word. It's legit. It looks legit, like Häagen-Dazs. Like it sounds like it would be, but it's not. Yeah. Joe Pringle says Steve Jobs died. Oh my God, really? When did that happen? So Sean says, that's love. wifey bringing you ice cream. Yep, it is. So, anybody have questions about real estate? Because a lot of you guys are struggling with like money or situations or whatever. And not that I have the answers, but I can maybe shed some light, add some clarity. So if, a lot of times you guys can't make the meetings, but if you can, great. But if you can't, here's an opportunity to kind of like be in a meeting. A lot of people on this call now, let me see, all the people who are watching, most of them, if not all of them, are in the meeting. So feel free to ask your questions. Even if you are in the meeting, what are you guys struggling with? Let's see, who's the newest person on this? Dutchy, you're on here. Like Ken Fung. You got any questions? You were like the latest one. Calvin, you always have great questions, right? You guys are some of the newest members to join the group. You guys have any questions? This would be a fantastic time while I eat my ice cream. So sometimes I'm not sure if like people are like typing away or they're just like, nope, I got nothing for you, because I can't tell. I can't tell. I'm just sitting here eating ice cream, watching my laptop, while you guys sit there and watch your phones, watching me watch my laptop while eating ice cream. It's a cool circle. This is neat, huh? No questions. Okay, well, thank you for telling me. Who is your accountant? He's a guy by the name of Gerard in New Jersey. Oh, Calvin, you mentioned that the money for the first phase of rehab when using hard money is needed by the borrower. So at the end of the last phase, that would be reimbursed, right? So let's say you needed to borrow $50,000 to do rehab. I will say, Calvin, I have $50,000 set aside for you. So then you would go and let's say you did 5 draws. So you would do $10,000 worth of work. So that's $10,000 out of your pocket. But once it's done, I give you the $10,000 back. So $10,000 is back in your pocket, and I have $40,000 in the account and $10,000 lent out to you. You then go do another $10,000. So now you have $20,000 worth of work. I lend you another $10,000. Okay. Am I back? Come on. Oh. Don't you hate when you get phone calls? All right. So you do $10,000 worth of work. I lend you 10. You do 10. Back, forth, back, forth, back, forth. Eventually, you've done $50,000 worth of work. And I've lent you $50,000 because I reimbursed you the 10 that you put out, and back and forth, back and forth. So yeah, you need the money up front, but you will get it all back by the end of your rehab. Zacchaeus says, when you do hard money loans and they say 100% purchase and rehab, what's an estimate on out of pocket you need to have? I would say that you would need maybe $20,000 to $25,000 if you're borrowing $100,000, and then add another $10,000 on top of that for every additional $100,000. So let's say $25,000 for $100,000 of borrowed money, and then another $10,000. So you might need $35,000 if you were borrowing $200,000, and $45,000 if you were borrowing $300,000, and so on. So that's something that it's a rough thing. What you need to really do is learn about all the closing costs that are associated. So what I gave you is a rule of thumb. You don't want to go by rules of thumb. You want to go by exact. You want to see what the points are. You want to see what the interests are. You want to see the title insurance, the property insurance, the transfer taxes, the appraisal, all that. Add it all up. And then you want to see when you do your rehab, what your rehab draws are and all that kind of stuff. So again, I gave you a rule of thumb, but that's not it. That's not like oh, Hone told me I only needed 25. No, I mean, so it's close maybe, but it's not the exact. You want to know the exact. All right, and then Sean says property management, question mark. How do you manage all your properties? Very carefully. No, I don't know. You just do it, or hire a property manager. Could you lower that out-of-pocket amount by increasing the amount of phases needed for the rehabilitation? Yeah, you can do that. So if you did 10 draws instead of 5, then you would only need 5,000 instead of 10,000. So yes, good question. That's a cash flow Jedi mastery right there. So yeah, you can definitely do that. All right, well, my phone said it's on low battery, so it's probably gonna die, but I thought this was a good call. Hopefully you guys liked it. If you guys liked it, light it up, please, light it up, because we're gonna end it. So light it up, show some appreciation, so that I can see that this was worthwhile to you guys, so that I have interest in doing more. Oh, there it is, lighting it up. Thank you guys. Faces, we got hearts, we got all kinds of stuff. Hey, all right. Oh, we got hearts, thumbs, smiling, angry. I'm guessing you guys can see it too, right? That's what I see on my side. Looks nuts. Looks nuts. So I appreciate it. Appreciate it. All the support, all that good stuff. All right. Well, that's it. Hopefully you guys got something from watching this, and I will catch you in the next video. Okay. Could you end that, please?